Are y'all going to see the Avengers?
I'm probably going to go tonight. Because I know Amanda probably doesn't care that much, but I want to hang out with her since I was gone all day yesterday.
I was about to say, what did you... You must have looked at that picture. It's disgusting.
It's terrible, isn't it?
It's disgusting.
That is the aftermath.
It's disgusting.
I can honestly say it wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Caught you throwing up on the bus ride?
It wasn't me.
Oh, wait. Were you not ready to...
Well, I don't know.
I thought you were going to do a test thing.
Yeah. You normally do the test thing, and then...
Oh, I mean, we've been testing. I've been, testing the whole time.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Hey, guys, you ready?
Hey, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, guys, are you ready?
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1. All right, and welcome to the latest episode of $2 Steak, a pro wrestling podcast. Guys, it's Sunday morning. It's what we're doing now. It's apparently how we record this podcast. We do Sunday mornings, and I got up this morning, 8 o'clock, walked around Greenfield Lake, did not shart this week, and
Nice change of events there.
nice change of events, felt good, had some avocado toast, and just like any good millennial, went to a nice little coffee shop. And you boys two of our boys look kind of rough. One of our boys always looks rough. Tell me a little bit about the game yesterday. Two of us were not able to actually go to the game yesterday due to work. And unfortunately, we did not win our Rugby Championship. I know a lot of you guys were listening and hoping to hear that we won. So tell me a little bit about that bus ride up.
The bus ride up?
Or bus ride back. I don't know. Just tell me about what funny events happened.
We were here.
I mean, just to kind of recap the game. Thursday, I'm okay now. Thursday at practice, I kind of made a joke that it was going to be a butterbean boxing match between us, and it turned into a butterbean versus butterbean boxing match. Absolutely. It was just heavyweights hitting
Duking it
each other
out,
hard,
back and forth. It was
so
a battle.
they went up first. We scored 2 after, so we're up. Then they score 3, and then we scored 2, and it was just battle to the end, man. We ended up losing by 12. 2 tries. Yeah. 2 tries. Their field was smaller than a normal field, so they had the kind of home field advantage a little bit. Because our game plan was to spread it wide, and we kind of
was just a little narrow.
Aaron and I were here, clutching our phones, each texting
Your
everyone.
wife kept
What's
calling
happening? What's going on?
Yeah,
give us updates, live updates.
I get to my phone after the game, and somebody texts me, so what's going on? Hello, why are you texting me?
Right.
Yeah.
We knew who to call. We knew who was on the sideline.
But so near the end of the game, I had a beautiful penalty. But apparently, Cookie, what did you describe it as?
I would describe it as the jumping STO is what he did to this individual.
Yeah, so
he did the pay dirt.
So again, I'm 6'4", 280 pounds. I've played a whole game. I'm tired. I'm not breaking down like I should. This is literally the last 2 minutes of the match. Winger gets the ball. Wingers tend to be the smaller guys, faster guys, and he starts cutting across the field. I'm like, all right, I got to take this guy out. Did not break down. I grabbed him by the head and just did my business.
He did a whole wrestling move on this person and left them on the ground.
Typically, that's going to get a card.
Oh, yeah,
but,
immediately. If not ejected from the game.
But as soon as I did it, I knew what I did because I could feel his face in my hand. And I got up, said, sorry, sir, and started running backwards because it's going to be a 10-meter penalty.
I think you still got the pin, though, didn't you? You got the 1, 2, 3. Didn't you?
Oh, dude, definitely. That kid was out.
So.
No,
I thought
they had to go time off because they had to check him. So, yeah, I won something there, consolation.
Yeah.
We won the social, though. We beat their ass in the boat race.
I was very proud of you, boys.
Yeah, so boat race is a beer chug. First guy goes, once he's done, next guy goes, and so forth. We were only going to do a 5-man. They wanted to go 6, and they ended up only being. We finished 6 before they finished 5.
Yes.
It was beautiful, and the heave ho, the boat.
Yeah. You gotta row that boat, man.
Yeah, you gotta row that boat.
I was very proud of you boys.
So,
at least we know how to drink.
Yeah. So, speaking of drinking, so win or lose, we knew the bus ride back was gonna be kind of crazy. We got a coach bus.
Complete madness.
So 6 hours, losing rugby team. We're gonna kind of drink our pants off. And so we got to a catastrophic point where the bathroom on the coach bus was having to go to the reserve tank.
Ugh.
So stop in Charlotte, still 3 hours out. And by this point, we've already been drinking for 2.5 hours. Probably 3 hours, actually. And we're in there. Everybody's buying beer because the keg didn't end up working out because it got jostled around and wasn't cold.
Very foamy, unfortunately.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. So we're buying our beer, and the dad of the group who had warned us about the...
Hi, Dad.
Yeah. He's actually not a dad, but he's our dad.
Well, I can only imagine. He's probably
So
like...
he's drunk, and he's standing in the...
Oh, God, I saw the videos
He's
of him.
standing in the gas station, and he goes, "Boys, over here." The big old, gallon waters. He's like, "This is like $2. Grab a piss jug." So some people bought piss jugs, and that is how we end up having to relieve ourselves the rest of the ride home from Charlotte all the way to Wilmington.
Oh, there we go.
It's the way of the road, bubs.
Me and Aaron thought we were missing out yesterday.
I did not miss that at all.
We didn't miss anything.
You guys missed out on the water jugs
We didn't get
and milk jugs. There were
Milk
some
jugs,
there were
yeah,
milk jugs as well.
250-pound men all day, and then had to pee in jugs.
And the at one point somebody earned a nickname, so he is now called Platinum.
That's all he likes to drink.
And
Yeah.
we made a
Platinum.
drinking game out of it. If you called him by his real name, you had to drink. And he, at one point, was doing push-ups with his feet and arms on the headrests of the bus seats.
And also where you put your carry-on.
Oh, yeah. So then
got all the way up.
Then he
there,
went to the
too.
next level, the handrail.
Yeah, the handrail. Yeah.
And he went up there and did a few more. And then he proceeded to pass out.
And he thinks, do we think that he was the elusive univomiter?
Yeah, so looking back, so after the Charlotte incident, where we had to get our jugs, I had not gone back to the bathroom yet. Since we got from there till we got back, and our captain goes to the bathroom to check it out at the end when we're kind of cleaning everything up, and he sends this picture. And
I just looked at it before we started recording.
Aaron
I gagged too.
when
I
he looked at it.
That's
So
not
when I
good.
saw it last night, I was kind of drunk, whatever you could see whatever. I looked at it this morning though, and I gave a little dry.
All right,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
I
So
can't-
2 weeks
I
in a
can't
row
do
we
it
talk
right
about
now.
that.
Yeah. So somebody pulled a Tolbert.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
wow.
No, Tolbert.
I owned up to
At least he owned
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
my actions.
Still don't know who did it, but we'll find out.
It was funny.
We
I
will
was
find
at
the
work
culprit.
last night, and I saw the deterioration on the group chat.
I did too. Yeah.
I was like a quarter or 3/4 away through my bar shift, and they haven't gotten home yet. And I saw it go from okay, bad to worse, and then I saw the picture of the bathroom. I was like, oh god.
I'm sitting at home watching the Crockett Cop, and I'm I'm still trying to work on the podcast, trying to figure out stuff to talk about. I'm the really big wrestling nerd out of all four of us.
Couldn't tell.
You can't tell, but I'm the guy, and I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm sending a match, and it's a 14-minute match between. It was between Kenny Omega and Finn Balor. This was in New Japan. It's 14 minutes, and all I see from Mike, who I know is hammered at this point, it's too long, can't watch.
I actually read it in that voice exactly, pretty much
I think
nope.
would you send back 14 minutes? Question mark.
That is not that is a normal time for a professional wrestling
To give
match on our
reference,
show.
we still had 2 hours left on the bus ride.
Yeah, plenty
Too
of
long,
time.
can't watch.
That should give you an idea of what we were doing on that bus,
we
where our minds
we were
at.
drinking and pissing in jugs.
Yes.
I was very bummed I didn't make the match, and I am not anymore. I feel good.
Yeah, so anyways, back to professional wrestling. Tolbert and I, we kind of stumbled upon some interesting history yesterday while we were in Wilmington, and it just kind of worked out. It was serendipitous. Tolbert and I met a guy, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wilmington history. That's kind of where this podcast is coming out of.
Kind of, it is.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we're definitely in downtown Wilmington right now recording. And in 1975, there was a plane crash. The plane crash was a plane chartered from Charlotte to Wilmington, North Carolina. It carried 4 professional wrestlers, 1 promoter, and the pilot. These 6 people. Is that 6, 4, 1, 6? Yeah. So it had these 6 people on it. Big deal. Ric Flair was on that plane, broke his back. And this week I sent out on Facebook it's a historical group in Wilmington. Does anybody remember this? Does anybody have any firsthand knowledge of what happened? And somebody replied back, yeah, my dad was first on the scene. So I'm like, oh, okay. I kind of wanted to see what his dad remembered. Hopefully his dad still had some good knowledge in him. And he gave me his dad's number. I called his dad. His dad told me the story over the phone. And I'm like, holy shit, that's really interesting. We met up on Saturday at Paul's Place in Rocky Point, North Carolina. If you're a southeastern North Carolina native, you know Paul's Place. They don't have chili. They have their own relish.
It's delicious too, boys.
I've
It's
yet
great.
to eat there. I've lived here 5 years.
I mean,
It's
it's
out of
a
the
hot
way.
dog. It's a hot dog.
Yeah.
It's good.
This podcast not sponsored by Paul's Place.
I mean, I would love for Paul's Place to sponsor. I enjoyed the hot dog. And we met the dad, and we went to his house and recorded an interview with him. Gave us a really good story. We posted it yesterday on the yesterday being Saturday on our webpage. We got some good views. We got some good shares. There's about 2,000 views right now. So that's my social media update. And I was really interested in the story. Tolbert the whole time was just like, he was into it.
Oh, it was great. First, I've never been out there to Paul's Place, so it's the kind of place you walk into. It's packed. They have like 3 items on the menu. Like the menu is like super short. It's like you can get 2 hot dogs and fries, 3 hot dogs, or a hot dog, or
all
and
hot
a grilled cheese. You
nothing
can get a grilled
else.
cheese,
Oh, a grilled
and a
cheese,
barbecue
okay.
sandwich, but go for the hot dogs.
I got you.
Don't go for the
I
barbecue.
mean, and it's people there that have been going there for years.
Yeah, this place has been
everybody's
open since
over
the
like
20s.
60. One guy almost had a heart attack, and I had to catch him, and
Yeah.
like I had to catch him so he did not fall. Put him in his chair, and like it was a wild moment for a second there. I'm like, hold on, guys, I gotta go catch this guy.
Yeah,
So if you guys know, I'm an Eagle Scout, and my Eagle Scout in me just came right back. I had to go help this man in need. So
And I was left with the couple.
Yeah.
John and his wife. And so I was watching Aaron take care of this elderly man. He was about to pass out. Like, he was stumbling. And Aaron, like, catches him, get him a chair. And he catches his breath, and he goes, well, can you get me some hot dogs?
Hey, that guy had something on his mind.
He had
And
priorities.
The line was long, so Aaron is getting this guy his hot dogs. And so I'm left with...
for a good
John
10
and his
minutes,
wife.
man.
Yeah, but we were just chatting, and he has a super interesting story. They lived here for a long time, for what,
Born
about
and
50
raised,
years? Yeah. And just super interesting guy. And just hearing this like old local history was great.
And in the 80s, when Ric Flair came back to Legion Stadium for a few matches,
Yeah.
he was the guy that piloted the helicopter for
Yeah.
Ric Flair when Ric Flair would come in.
Really?
Pretty
Yeah.
neat,
That's
yeah.
pretty
yeah.
cool.
And another story, I didn't post this one. His dad, this guy's dad, tried to promote professional wrestling in the 1950s at Legion Stadium, right? His dad tried to do this stuff, and Legion Stadium did not want him to do it because it was too violent, because somebody pulled a knife on his dad at the event, and after that, they didn't have Legion Stadium wrestling for about 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. He told us a story how his dad, he's like, my dad wasn't a tough guy, and he just told the guy to go to hell, pretty much.
Yeah.
The
You
guy
go to
backed
hell.
off.
You get that knife out of here.
Now, Aaron, you told me that this kind of kickstarted the whole Nature Boy gimmick, correct?
Yeah, so like before this plane crash, Ric Flair was a chonker. He was
a big boy.
he was a big boy, about 300 pounds. Big meaty dude. The plane crash, he was out for about 8 months. He not able to make money, and during that time, during his rehab, he lost a lot of weight, changed up his wrestling style. You can see kind of in the 80s, and he starts doing less of flat back bumps, which are the traditional way to take a bump in professional wrestling. And you can kind of notice he does more side bumps. Like he bumps more on his hip.
I always wondered why he did that. That was why.
It's because he broke his back in this plane crash. And because of that, maybe he was a little gun shy about how to take that flat back bump.
Yeah.
So after that, he changed up his style, less aggressive, less ground and pound, more of the style that we know today for Nature Boy.
Wow.
Pretty neat. I mean,
That is
like,
kinda a cool story.
It is and this was before, quote, kayfabe was broken, and a bunch of those people, 2 of those guys were faces, 2 of those guys were heels, riding on the same plane. They had to take 4 separate ambulances. They had to have separate wings of the hospital to put them in there. They went by their real names, not by their stage names.
Yeah.
And when Chief Wahoo McDaniel came to visit these guys, he had to have a police escort to visit Ric Flair, because at the time, him and Ric Flair were going through some stuff in the wrestling biz. So it was very
Talk about how
interesting.
serious they take kayfabe.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
wow.
And you got to understand, back then, it was less of a entertainment. It was a sport. And this is how those guys were making money. This is how those guys were putting food on their plate for their children, for themselves. This was how they were able to provide for their families, was through this sport.
Yeah, and the fans really got into it. On the way back, Aaron actually called his dad, and his dad told us this awesome story.
I called my dad, and Dad's like, yeah, back in the 1950s, my grandma heard that there was going to be wrestling over at Schlote Middle School, and Gorgeous George was going to be there. And I'm like, Dad, yeah, that's pretty cool. Gorgeous George was a big deal. He's like, yeah, Gorgeous George was walking around the ring, and somebody hit him with a chair, and my grandma, good Christian woman, started cussing up a storm at her, and I had to hold my grandma back, and I was embarrassed. And I'm like, Dad, yeah, I mean, like, that's how
serious people took it.
Wow.
People took it. And he's like, Gorgeous George was my grandma's favorite.
Gorgeous George was a saint.
Hey, Gorgeous George was a saint, so I can just imagine my great-grandma with a huge wad of chaw in her mouth just sitting there cussing at this guy because he tried to hurt her Gorgeous George.
Did you throw no chair at Gorgeous George?
And this is right after we heard the story about homeboy pulling the knife, after a match, So it's wow.
I mean, if you look through like the Jim Cornette books and stuff, they were having people were pulling knives on them left and right. I have seen personally, even nowadays, where quote kayfabe has been broken, I have seen people try to pull knives on some of the wrestlers that I was traveling with.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's
that's so crazy.
People get into it,
people
man.
Really like it.
And that's why I think it's such a fun business model. And it's to get people so pissed off at somebody that they want to pay to watch that person get their ass kicked in. Yeah. And they want to come back and see that happen.
That means that they're doing their job correctly.
They are doing
their
their
heels
job.
are getting their heat, and they're getting good heat. And if someone wants to pull a knife on them.
Now it's more of like a comic book storyline where it's like an extended storyline over months and months and a build-up like that. And back in those days, that heat was immediate.
Yep.
And it was right in your face, and it was a lot more. It was almost like a punk rock show, like going to a punk rock show. It's just really in your face. Anyway, so our first segment of the evening, we are doing for the tie-up today wrestling theme songs. Holy shit, we are 20 minutes in. This is gonna be a really long episode. Sorry, guys.
A lot's happened this weekend.
Yeah, this has been a fun weekend. So we are talking about theme songs today, and I know in honor of our rugby playlist that we definitely had some professional wrestling theme songs in there, and there's something about a professional wrestling theme song. If it's a good professional wrestling theme song, the second you hear it is the second that you're like, oh my God, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin's music. You hear the glass and it's your ass, sort of thing.
You immediately jump out of your seat.
You immediately. If it's a good theme song, you know immediately who's coming out. It's a Pavlov, a dog, almost. Tell me some of y'all's favorite professional wrestling theme songs.
Oh, I'm kind of predictable. Cookie, you start
I'll
this off.
I'll start this off.
Cookie,
I would say
using a composition notebook this week.
No more note cards and no more shopping
week
lists.
and week.
He's finally taking it serious.
Next week it's going to be a 5-star notebook. I can't wait for that one.
A Trapper Keeper the week after that.
Dave Meltzer rated this notebook 5 stars.
So I think the first one for me would have to be The Rock's music. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? As soon as you hear "Do you smell," everyone lights up. That song immediately gets people out of their seats. It's electrifying, like the man himself is. So I think The Rock's music is one of them. I think another one would have to be, for me, Kurt Angle.
Dun-dun.
Yeah.
Dun-dun.
Everyone's infectious. Everyone says that.
And it's so simple. It's just 2 notes. Dun-dun.
That's it.
Dun-dun.
Simple is better.
It's something that I would have come up with playing the piano as a kid when I'm trying to, I'm at my neighbor's house. I'm like, yeah, I know how to play this thing.
Exactly. Just, yeah, I can do that over again, too. So I think that one, and of course, my favorite would probably have to be Finn Balor.
Finn Balor's music's pretty good, man.
It is. It really is. I play that before a match every time.
Now, we've all kind of like become. I don't know if it's because of us watching like Xavier Woods like social media stuff. We all really like Batista's theme song now. Like, maybe we don't like Batista as a professional wrestler, but that theme song's
great.
Really good.
I didn't realize how good it was until I saw Xavier Woods get really into it. Like, just being backstage and doing the whole...
Well, I was going to say, the video of WrestleMania, he's like screaming.
Yeah. And runs. He runs.
Yeah. Like a kid. And he's backstage. He runs to see the entrance and the gun part. Is that Batista?
Yeah.
So you like Sting's theme music?
Well, I mean, that goes without saying. I don't even need to say that after last week.
What is? I don't think I've ever actually heard Sting.
That was the music that I played right before his 45-minute segment on Sting last week.
I didn't listen to the podcast.
Oh, thanks, dude. I lived it. I lived that podcast.
Yeah. So you have the older theme music, which is kind of like an old school like. Almost
guitar,
like thrash metal. It's like with some awesome bass. But the one that's most memorable for most people is the Crow era. People call it. Yeah. When he would come down from the rafters, and it was almost like the Undertaker's music, kind of.
Well, speaking of which, he had to admit the Undertaker.
And I was just gonna say number one for me, Undertaker.
Really?
How did I forget about the Undertaker?
Dude, it's just so I
mean, we all love the theme metal. Music that starts with "I say yeah." I mean, we have to admit that one.
Course,
that one's like the greatest of all time. Right?
I've always been a fan of the more.
In my career, that's my music. That's the music I use. Oh yeah, I love that song.
Yeah, I've always been more of a fan of the more elaborate entrances.
It's pretty fun, man. Like looking at the 1980s, right before a lot of the copyright laws for music and everything started like becoming an issue. People, like a lot of these wrestlers would come out to popular music. The Freebirds would come out to Freebird.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was the Legion of Doom came out to Iron Man by Black Sabbath, which is
bad.
Like these two guys come out with like shoulder pads on with spikes on them. They look like S&M monsters.
Can you imagine
post-apocalyptic
you
Mad
smoked
Max
a joint
style?
out in the parking lot, you're drinking a beer, you're like, yeah, we're about to watch some wrestling. And that fucking happens, dude. Oh.
Or Sandman, Enter Sandman.
Right? It works out so well, a lot of these things. And I know that, now that they've actually licensed a couple real songs, CM Punk would come out to Cult of Personality. Which is a great song. That's a song that I grew up listening to. Or
I listened to it before the game yesterday.
Yeah,
I had to
it's
listen
a great
to it.
song.
I was like, I want to listen to this.
It is a good song.
It is a really good
song. And then, Ronda Rousey, of course, coming out to Bad Reputation.
Yep. I got one more. It's an honorable mention.
All right.
American Badass, Kid Rock.
That's
The Undertaker. It's the good one.
That was a licensed song.
That was a licensed song, yeah.
And we would be in a lot of trouble if we did not mention Heartbreak Kid's theme song. Sean, the greatest self-sung theme song of all time.
So
think I'm sexy.
I actually before WrestleMania, I was showering, getting ready. Me and Katie are about to go over to Mike's and watch, and we're cooking. And I put on theme songs over the stereo system. And as I'm getting out of the shower, I cue that up. And she's like, "What the fuck?" I do a little Val Venus towel spin to finish it off.
I can't imagine a naked Tolbert doing that.
I just imagined a naked Tolbert doing the Shawn Michaels squat where he's got one leg straight and he's like naked, his dick hanging between his legs.
By the way, Aaron is doing this right now.
I'm trying to do it and doing that pose. I can just imagine that right now, and it's making me really disturbed.
He probably got stuck.
I'm serious. I was trying to get pumped for the big show.
Oh, all right.
You gave her a big show, right?
Speaking of big show, and it's not actually the big show. So our first matchup of the evening, which is kind of, we're going to put an asterisk beside it, because I gave him 2 matches because of that. Mike, your first match of the evening will be Hulk Hogan versus the Giant in a monster truck match. And I would like to hear your thoughts on this. You didn't know going into it. Tell me your first impressions of this match.
So when you said it last week, I said monster truck match. Oh, cool. I wonder what that's going to be. not thinking it would be literal monster trucks. Well, because like Chicago Street Fight wasn't really a Chicago Street Fight. Like they weren't outside or anything. So monster truck, I don't know. So that was kind of cool. I like the premise. Monster trucks are cool. Who doesn't like monster trucks, right? And they're gonna battle it out sumo wrestle style. That's about all I liked.
In concept,
in concept, it works. It was way too long, and I did our classic wrap it up, boys. and of course, Hulk Hogan had to win.
Oh yeah, of course.
But if it was like a 3-minute thing, it would have been a lot cooler.
I like the beginning. It's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kick your ass.
No, I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna push you.
They stop and then like walk
Let's
off.
get in the trucks. Now I will say, so monster trucks drive differently than cars. There's rear steering and front steering, and they were driving some of it, right?
No, come on. There was a co-pilot and everything.
The co-pilot does the rear, I think. I don't know.
Okay,
but they were actually in the trucks.
Right? They were, yeah.
Yeah, so props to them on that, I guess.
Dude, it's so like it is only an 8-minute segment. Yet it feels like
it takes because it's the same thing. It's just back and forth,
and it's not even like good back and forth. Like it's so boring. But then, like the color commentator is a monster truck like driver or analyst, and it's awful. And he's like trying to do all these insider terms and everything. Tell me about the aftermath of this match. What happened after the match was over?
Yeah, were they trying to show that the giant fell off the roof?
Yeah.
Is that what they were going for? I didn't know if there was a river there.
Big Show.
Oh no!
Yeah, so Hulk Hogan committed murder.
Yeah, he's a murderer.
Hulk Hogan is a murderer. Threw a 7-foot tall man, a very conspicuous 7-foot man, in a single strap singlet off of a building, and threw him, to his death. Presumably, I don't know if he ever came back.
Yeah, I would say whatever.
There's a conspiracy to this day that's not the real Big Show.
It's like Paul McCartney.
There were 2 Big Shows.
Paul McCartney things. I don't think you can find a 7-foot man that looks like that.
No. Okay, so because of that match being just kind of a joke, and I felt like I needed to give Mike an actual match to watch, but instead I found this really cool segment. It's a 30-minute segment. But it's an entire angle. It kind of shows the start to the end of a feud between the Midnight Express and Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2. Tell me a little bit about that.
All right, so it starts out, Jim Cornette's being interviewed by...
So that's Cowboy Bill Watts. He's the guy that he was the booker, and he kind of ran that promotion.
So, I mean, right off the bat, Jim Cornette's great on a mic. Like, he's good at talking...
Super young, too.
Yeah, very young. Still has his tennis racket. Still don't know what's going on with that. But they kind of cut back to recent weeks and all this sort of thing where they really want to get a match with Mr. Wrestling 2, Magnum TA, and then they cut to another segment and they actually tarred and feathered Magnum TA.
What did you think about that?
It was cool. It was funny. And it clearly got heat because the crowd hates Jim Cornette.
Oh my God, they hate. So the reason why Jim Cornette was such a bad guy in Mid-South, one, he was a mama's boy that got all of his money from his mother. That was the storyline behind it. And these people are all blue-collar, hard-working people. They are down on their luck in the state of Louisiana, and they were watching this man come in with all this money and flaunt his mama's money.
So it's a great character, and he plays it very well. And again, I've listened to his podcast. I obviously had the one match earlier.
The Midnight Express against the Fantastic.
So I knew he was like very oratory. Like, how do you say like fancy with his words?
Well spoken.
Oh, apparently I'm not. So he's better than me, and so it's just really good because it buys in. You kind of get the idea, and you really kind of don't like this guy, but I kind of like him. But I get why people don't like it.
I love it.
He's great.
His mannerisms,
he's so good at getting heat.
And all the little things he does when he's like,
he grabs let's take a look at that. And then he grabs his chin let's take a look.
Just the little things he throws.
Can I bring up one thing about the promo before the tar and feathering?
Okay, where he interrupts them?
Where he interrupts Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling. And this Mr. Wrestling 1 looks like my grandfather, like wearing underwear on his head.
So I actually, doing a little research, found out. So when he went to Mid-South, he was already in his 50s.
Right.
And he sounds like it.
Yeah.
And his body looks like it.
Yeah. But there's a line that Jim Cornette's like, y'all are a bunch of chickens.
Yeah,
and
I
he walks
actually made a
away.
note of
Okay,
that.
so you do have this. Tell me what he said.
Well, I think you'd probably be able to explain it better. But so I said in the early promos, they make a terrible chicken joke.
Yeah.
And then Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling essentially say the same chicken joke back. Like, no, you're a chicken.
He's like, so he calls him the chicken, and then Magnum TA is like, well, I think he would probably be better in a hen house and not as a rooster. And then Mr. Wrestling 2 says my favorite line. He's like, yeah, like sitting on them eggs.
It's a joke that you would expect a 50-year-old man to make who probably isn't very good at shit talking.
Sitting on them eggs.
Hey, go sit on the eggs, boy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I did. It's bad, but so if you follow the link on our Twitter at $2steak_, it's like about a 20-minute segment, 13 minutes of which is the build up and the precursor and all this sort of stuff. So at about 13 and a half minutes, they actually get to wrestling. That's a young JR.
Very young JR.
Doing interviews and then doing the commentary, right? So that was kind of cool. One part I loved, so Jim Cornette, being the heel, takes the announcer's mic, makes fun of the way he's dressed.
It was so funny.
And
Looked like he got dressed in the dark.
yeah, announces his boys to come out, and then Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2 rush in, and the announcer's like, I'm getting out of here.
He throws the mic and he's like, I'm out of here.
And he just dives out the ring. So that was great. In terms of the wrestling, it was a good. I think it was a good wrestling, tag team wrestling, old school for sure. You know, they're going after like individual parts of the body and all that sort of stuff. Really good back and forth. Eventually, Midnight Express gets DQ'd because Cornette pulls the rope down. Magnum TA goes over the top. Cornette then gives which one of them? He gives one of the guys the belt.
Yeah.
His belt.
Yeah.
And they start whipping up on the old man.
Yeah.
And poor old guy. He's
wearing literally the same pair of whitey tighties my grandfather
exactly.
wore.
And
Yeah.
And his mask. So he's masked, and his mask is just. It reminds me of a terrible. What are like a ski mask? Like he's gonna go rob something.
It's like a luchador ski mask.
Yeah, it's just really bad.
But that's and you got to think like
era.
I did make a note. Mr. Wrestling 2 reminded me of Mermaid Man from SpongeBob.
Mermaid. Yeah, I can see that.
Just got
I
a
can
short,
see that. Yeah,
little bit around, tights
Hey,
up to
for
his
being
nipples.
50, that dude's got some
He
moves,
moved,
man.
and he wrestled well with his moveset. Yeah, so it looked really good.
He's got a really cool knee lift where he goes in and
Yeah.
throws his knee up. It
Yeah.
looks really good.
Or the one where he kind of flies in and like sits down on the leg.
on the
that
leg.
was really
yeah, I made
good
the, I
too.
made the note, like the leg drop into
Yeah.
the toe hold.
Yeah,
really
is
good.
Great, man.
And so again, the crowd's hype. They hate Midnight Express. They hate Jim Cornette. So after all the belt whipping goes on, they leave the ring, and Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling get chairs. And Magnum TA throws a chair, doesn't hit anything. Mr. Wrestling 2 throws a chair,
fucking
hits one of them.
upset me.
Crowd goes wild. Crowd goes wild. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And then, that's it. But it was good. It was fun. It was entertaining. I like the lead up to it. I could listen to Jim Cornette literally talk shit on anybody.
yeah,
'cause
he's so much fun.
he is pretty fun.
And it's cool. This was almost so later on. That tag team, Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling, started a feud against each other, and you could see this is like the plant for it. Like there's a part where he throws a punch, Magnum TA throws a punch, and I think it might have been Dennis Condrey ducks it, and he like knocks Mr. Wrestling, and Mr. Wrestling kind of takes it. And it kind of like plants that little seed of like, oh, you could see Mr. Wrestling kind of give this look towards Magnum TA like, man, you shouldn't have done that. And then,
It kickstarts the feud.
yeah. And so there was like little seeds of anger towards resentment towards Magnum TA. Maybe he was, this is an older man seeing like the new young buck come up and take his position sort of storyline that they did. Magnum TA, one of the greatest NWA US champions of all time.
Phenomenal athlete.
Really sad story, man.
Oh
He
my
would have
God,
been
yeah.
if he didn't. So he got in a really bad car wreck on the way home one night from a show, I think. Wrapped his car around a telephone pole. There was no alcohol involved, and they say that They say that he wasn't speeding, but I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't there that night. I didn't see it. And he was paralyzed. He became paralyzed from that. He was out of the business for about 5 or 6 years. They brought him back in like a capacity of commentary a little bit. And, I mean, it's just a sad story. Last night during the Crockett Cup, he came out and he's on his like little scooter thing that he has to like ride on now, and he was able to talk to the crowd a little bit. His stepdaughter is Tessa Blanchard. So if you watch professional wrestling now, Tessa,
Impact, right?
Yeah, so she not only is she a third generation wrestler, her real father is Tully Blanchard, and her stepdad is Magnum TA. So she is like she had to start wrestling. Her grandfather was a wrestler, and it's just all this.
It's in her DNA.
Yeah, it's in her DNA, and that's why she's doing. I think she's a hard ass worker too. Yeah. She's really good and a beautiful girl. So yeah, that's the story of that.
Cool.
I did not know that.
Oh, are you ready for the social media update?
I am ready for the social media update.
All right. We are now.
Oh, I forgot about the social media update.
Drum roll. 24 followers.
24 followers?
I think 2 are bots, but it's okay. One of which is my mother.
I heard about that. I'm not excited about that.
I'm not allowed to hang out with Mike's mom anymore.
My wife made my mom listen to the Uber Ride from Hell story. So I'm pretty sure
blacklisted.
Sure you're not. Yeah.
No more cookouts when the parents are in town.
We continue the trend of terribly live tweeting Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
Aaron helped me out on Monday. So that was it Monday? No, it was
Tuesday night. I helped.
Aaron helped me out on Tuesday, so that was really good. Not as successful this week as we were last week. I don't know why.
Dude, I think we were. We got retweeted.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on, man. I'm talking about organic.
Okay.
Original content.
Sorry.
And I was talking about the terrible live tweeting. So not as good. Our highest organic action. I already replied to Eric Bischoff, and I got a good percentage of clicks from the impressions. Like only about 300 impressions, but it was like a 14% click rate.
Was it a funny joke?
I didn't write the tweet down now.
All right. Well, I don't even care now.
It's basically said our shit doesn't suck or something like that.
All right. Okay.
And then the other thing that got a lot of action, it was me talking shit about Hulk Hogan on Vader's Twitter.
Yeah.
So, because they were talking. So his son runs the Twitter for Vader.
Right.
And he was saying how, something about.
They didn't like working together.
He wanted to talk to Hogan or something like this, blah, blah, blah. And I said, if it's not making Terry money, he's not going to do it. And
right.
Apparently, everybody clicked on that shit, man. They loved it. But that's our social media.
That's the truth.
I have conceded the Instagram to Tolbert because I am terrible at Instagram. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, you're also terrible at Twitter, but we still love you.
Yeah. But I'm making Twitter work.
He's
all right.
making it work.
I don't know how Instagram.
Tell me, we did get a retweet.
All right, so we got a retweet from Scott Dawson from The Revival.
Okay.
We got like 60.
That's
clicks
pretty awesome.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. I'm sorry, Scott.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right. So I've kind of played it close to my chest the last few weeks. I actually know Scott Dawson very well, and he's a good friend of mine. And I sent him the links to our podcast, and he sends me this text, and he's like, "I don't like your co-host," and I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And he says, "The one talking shit about the Midnight Express," and I'm like, "Oh, that's Mike. Yeah, that was Mike.
Yeah, that's the greenhorn.
Yeah, that's the greenhorn.
I'm getting heat."
And I'm like, dude, I sent him this message back. I'm like, listen, he didn't grow up like believing everything like we did, like being able to watch professional wrestling all the time. And he's like, yeah, well, I still want to kick his ass. And I mean, like, anyway, so Mike's gonna get his ass kicked by a professional wrestler.
About to get a Dash Wilder punch.
Hopefully they both don't shove in Shattered Machine.
Oh, they will.
Shattered Machine.
All right, so our second matchup of the evening. All right, for the love of God, can we keep it together, please?
No.
Our second match of the evening, the Strong Style.
Yes.
We are talking to the one and only
like
Cookie. Cookie, I assigned you, and it's actually one of our first WWE, well, technically WWE match. but it is from ECW One Night Stand. It is Masato Tanaka against Mike Awesome. This was suggested by Nathan McDevitt. He is a big professional wrestling nerd as well. Tell me a little bit about this matchup.
So I'm gonna start off with the way it starts, and it starts off with a ECW original. I don't know his name, but it starts off with him begging for a job from Eric Bischoff, which I thought was hilarious because he wanted to get on Raw.
I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember. I think he used to be like with the Dudleys, maybe. Was he? I think he may have been like one of the.
Hold on, I'm gonna click that link real quick. You keep talking.
Okay. So I'll move on. So the match starts honestly with Joey Styles just berating Mike Awesome for being a piece of shit.
You know what? You know why?
Oh, yeah, because he left. Did he leave with the belt?
He left with the belt to WCW.
He took the belt to WCW, and I mean, honestly, that is a little cowardice.
It is a
little.
And then became that '70s guy and the guy,
the booty guy,
the fat girl guy.
No, what was it? The fat chick thriller. That's what it is. The fat chick thriller.
But they openly, they openly talked about him leaving during the match in the commentary, right?
Yeah.
It was right there.
And this
on
is
the
like
open.
maybe 6 years later. So I mean that wound is still a little fresh.
It
on
is,
these guys.
Because I mean, you got to think about it. This was 05 with ECW One Night Stand, and the business closed in what 02. So 01, 02. So yeah, very fresh. And you could tell when he was like, you took food off of people's plates and you took jobs away from people. Like you're a piece of shit. Like he literally got into him. He did not hold back on him, and I think it made Mick Foley a little I don't know,
uncomfortable.
A little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, he was just like, you could tell he just didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to like kind of bring it back. But eventually, Joey Styles did apologize and kind of brought the professionalism back. But I have to say, this match was just phenomenal.
You liked it?
Amazing, literally amazing. The first thing I'm going to talk about.
Into the mic.
First thing I'm going to talk about is one of the first high spots was that awesome bomb off the apron.
Yes,
and it looked like he under rotated maybe a little bit because he landed directly on his neck.
That's one of my first notes. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that bump looked so. Oh my god, it looked terrible. But Masato like pushed through it. He's a tough son of a bitch.
Dude, both of those guys are tough.
That was one of my first notes is that Masato Tanaka is a tough son of a bitch. And even Joey Styles said that is a tough guy.
I think it helps that he doesn't have a neck.
Yeah, I just thought about that. Like Masato Tanaka, like he looks like he's all of like
it's
5
ears
feet.
and shoulders.
Like, yeah, it's just ears and
shoulders.
Just a jack guy.
And Mike Awesome's tall as shit.
Yeah,
he's a big boy.
So okay. So the guy begging for the job, I can't remember what his name was, but he was not a wrestler. He was like he was a manager / color commentator for ECW.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah, I can't think of what his name was, and people are gonna be like me, and he.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to be in the comments.
Yeah, so
you guys are idiots.
That's who it was.
But I'm gonna go back to something.
Okay.
Mike Awesome was getting paid $250,000. He's getting paid 6 figures, which is probably very high money for ECW at the time. And he left for, I guess, $1 million. I guess is what they were offering.
Yeah,
him.
probably
$1 million. So he breached
just
the contract.
ridiculous money.
Yeah, and then took the belt with him. Jesus, man, that's just crazy to me. And then at one point, Joey Styles says the TNN network was the Redneck Network. Cultural programming, the yeehaws of the world used to watch TNN. He just laid into like Southerners for like a solid minute.
Well, it's being from Philadelphia and all that stuff. Yeah. He's gotta say something about us Southerners.
He's got to. Of course, he's got to. But anyway, moving on from that. I think one of the next spots was the chair shots.
Dude, disgusting.
My God, those chair shots.
Oh, run down your spine.
Straight to the head. Straight to the head.
And bent the chair.
Oh yeah, it bent the chair. And you could the sound it made echoing through the arena. And literally, you could see Masato Tanaka getting like fired up from it. But in my head, I'm like, I know that has to hurt.
God,
like I know that hurts.
I mean, CTE.
I'm
sorry.
This podcast is brought to you by CTE.
Thank you.
And so it was multiple chair shots to Masato Tanaka.
It is so painful looking. Though, like
I can't. How do you take that?
You just nut up.
Yeah. That's it.
Chair shots to the head is one of the things I just do not get.
I'm glad that's why they don't do it.
I'm glad they don't do it again anymore. But you watch some of those shots, and you're going, how is that not giving that guy a concussion?
Exactly.
How's that guy not getting knocked out?
And almost, and during that time, JBL was notorious for giving really, really bad chair shots to the head or taking them.
I can see that.
And also during that time, like, it was almost like a badge of honor to take the hardest chair shot you could take. You've seen the I Quit match between
I was just about to bring that up.
The Rock and Mick Foley. Like, it is a badge of honor to take 14. Yeah, 15.
Yeah. Chair shots to the head. It's just, that's what it reminded me of. And Masato Tanaka was dishing them back too. At one point, he puts a chair on top of Mike Awesome, takes another chair and just slams it down on top of his head. That was a pretty hardcore bump too.
Yeah, I made so many notes about chairs. Tornado DDT.
On the chairs. Yes. On the chairs.
Elbow drop off the top rope with the chair.
With the chairs. He does a concerto at one point, which is what it was called, where he takes a chair and just literally slams it on top of Mike Awesome. It was a great match, like I said.
And it's only 13, 14 minutes long. I mean, it's not a long match, and they have got a shit ton of stuff in there. What was that face?
Because I just thought about something.
Okay.
Going towards the end of the match, there was a spot where he does a awesome bomb off of the top rope.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like I thought Masato Tanaka was gonna break his neck.
Well, did you see all the They had already broken the table.
They had already broken
the table. And it was all the jagged
metal
metal pieces were sticking
I
out.
thought he was going to get impaled.
It was bent. Yeah, exactly. I was like, holy crap! Why did the ref not go and like move that out of the way? Or like
came inches. Like I know you could see him spot it before he goes off, but his head comes inches.
That would have
from being like impaled.
Yeah,
gash somebody.
And I had to think. Oh, okay, this is what I was wondering why he broke the table originally. It was a tornado DDT, another tornado DDT that Masato Tanaka did to Mike Awesome through that table, and then he kicks out. I swear I counted, I think 12 kickouts.
Yeah,
12 kickouts. This match was phenomenal. Went on for like 13 minutes, but that awesome bomb through the remnants of the table after the tornado DDT, just to see Masato Tanaka kick out again, I was just like, I don't know who's going to win this match.
The crowd didn't even know what to do. They were just screaming.
Oh yeah, this is awesome.
They didn't know what to do.
This is awesome. Yeah. And that didn't finish him off. So the very last spot, another awesome bomb outside of the ring through a table, and the camera doesn't really cut to it as quick as like people would want them to. But he does it looks like a plancha. He just basically throws himself over top of the ropes and does an awesome splash onto him and pins him 1, 2, 3.
For a big guy, Mike Awesome was pretty damn good, right?
He was damn agile. Sorry,
he was a good.
He's a good performer.
Yeah, he was a very good performer.
Even Mick Foley said it. He was like, he may be a piece of shit, but he's a great wrestler. He is a great wrestler, and I have to give it to him.
That's really what we say about you. You may be a piece of shit, but you're a great rugby player.
Hey, I try to do it. I try to do what I can.
I think what I loved about this match was just how hyped the crowd was.
And part of it, and that's how a lot of ECW was.
Yeah, but part of it I think is just it was in a smaller venue.
Yeah.
So you don't need as many people to get the crowd noise and the kind of the excitement. And I mean obviously like any athlete would they probably feed off that too. So if the crowd's getting really into it, there's no way you're not kicking out of that second thing.
There weren't too many lulls in the match either.
No.
I think every
if there was a lull, he was setting up a table.
Exactly.
But I didn't grow up watching ECW. It just didn't really draw. I don't know. I just didn't watch it.
Yeah.
And watching this match made me jealous. I was like, man, I wish I was watching this. I was really missing out.
Yeah.
And I've been going through a lot of ECW stuff on YouTube lately.
And a lot of it's shit.
Yes, but there's moments of brilliance.
There are moments of brilliance in ECW, and there are tons of shit in ECW.
I think any kind of match you put where like Mike Awesome or Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Taz, any of those guys in it, it's probably going to be like a 5-star match.
Okay, so speaking of which, what is the cookie count on this?
You know what, boys? I'm gonna have to give this 5 cookies.
Wow!
I give it 5 cookies. It was a phenomenal match.
I
would start to finish. I can't say anything bad about this match.
Any non-wrestling fan could watch this match
and
they're gonna be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Like,
they'll be entertained.
It was a great match.
It was phenomenal. Good pick, good suggestion. I want more.
It was paced well and the time was right.
Yeah, and there wasn't a chant of "you fucked up." So
no,
everyone fucked up in that match.
They got fucked up.
They got fucked up. Oh yeah, I think Masato Tanaka still.
Maybe he doesn't have a neck because he's taking so many chair shots.
Yeah,
maybe just
he's like a Goomba from like Mario Brothers or something,
Ooh.
All right, so we are finally at the last spot of the evening, and it is a doozy. It is the high spot with Tolbert. Tolbert, you had Big Chief Wahoo McDaniel against Curt Hennig. Tell me a little bit about that match. It's coming from us from AEWA.
So I was really into this because, we interviewed that gentleman about the plane crash and just, going through all these old magazines and matches. It really got me pumped up to watch some old school, like, regional wrestling. And I'd been talking to some regulars at the bar I work at, and talking to some of these older guys that are hanging out, telling stories about seeing Wahoo on TV and going to these matches. It was awesome. But so it starts off. Wahoo comes out in this huge headdress. It is massive. I don't know.
He's Native American.
Yeah, and they introduced him. From being from the University of Oklahoma?
So, Chief Wahoo McDaniel started off, he was a football player, a linebacker for the University of Oklahoma.
Okay.
He then played, I think, maybe for the Jets for a little bit.
I've got some notes here. He played for the Cowboys, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Broncos.
Which means he wasn't that good.
Oh, this is coming from a Steelers fan. He actually made 23 tackles in one game, which is insane for a football game.
Yeah.
That was like a record
solid.
at the time, yeah.
But he's a big boy. He's a little older at this point in his career. I think they mentioned his age. I think he's, I don't know, around 50 years old maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway.
He was definitely a little
So
older.
he comes out, the crowd, I don't know, it almost seemed like he got some boos. Am I mistaken there? It wasn't like a big reception. There were definitely some fans in there.
And honestly, I think Chief Wahoo McDaniel, I think maybe it was the region of where this matchup came, because he was not. He's more of an NWA.
Yeah, this was up north, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's more of a Jim Crockett and Mid-South guy. Like, those guys loved him. Like, yeah, I can talk to any old wrestling fan, and they're like, I remember where I saw Chief Wahoo McDaniel fight Ric Flair for 45 minutes and bled all over the place.
So Curt Hennig comes out. He definitely gets some boos.
Oh, Curt Hennig's a big heel.
Everyone hates him. He comes out with his manager, Medusa. What's her last name?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was
McKnighty,
Jelly.
McKnighty,
Yeah, something weird. But comes out with Medusa.
Look,
Is that Medusa? Like,
I'm not sure. I couldn't
Alundra
tell. But
Blaze?
this chick was hot.
she was hot. She was really hot.
With that 80s haircut.
Yeah,
The
she
80s,
was
like,
smoking, man.
mohawk style,
Yeah.
spiked up thing. Yeah,
Which my Aunt Karen still uses. Like, she still has that hair too.
It was pretty punk rock.
Yeah.
So Curt Hennig he's holding the belt. He's a champ. The commentator goes in saying he's not the real champ. Greg Gandhi is there?
Gagne. Greg Gagne is.
Yeah,
I
Gagne.
don't know.
Gagne.
I wasn't following all
Anyway.
that stuff.
So I guess there's some heat going on, with that. He's not the real champ. At first glance, you're like, wow, it looks like a mismatch almost, because Wahoo's he's older, he's big,
He's rotund.
he's round, and Curt Hennig's in shape. He's cut. He's just like, wow, this dude looks fast. He looks fit. The match starts off with him kind of being apprehensive, kind of scared of Wahoo, doesn't know quite what to do with him. And they go into some locks, throw each other around a little bit, and then Wahoo starts chopping the shit out of him. But he really sells it.
So
would you say he was like overselling? Is that a thing?
No. So I think, and you could hear, like, there has been tons of evidence from Ric Flair. Ric Flair got his technique from Wahoo.
Okay.
And Wahoo and him would just have complete chop battles. Like, half their matches
God,
were just,
dude.
and they were saying, like, I have heard story after story about taking a chop from Wahoo is like taking a baseball bat to the chest.
Jesus. So he's not really selling as hard as it looks. He's actually, because
No,
you
because it
hear
hurts like shit,
you hear
yeah.
the slap,
Yeah.
but Curt would he'd chop him and he'd send him into the air and he'd flip.
And that's another thing with Curt.
That's how that's the oversell part.
Curt Hennig, that's kind of his style.
Yeah.
Like, he oversold and kind of made things look a little bit cartoonish, but
Yeah.
I like him though.
So, but a lot of holds, a lot of locks. Just wrestling. going on. It heats up. Momentum picks up when Wahoo gets thrown into the corner, into the turnbuckle, and Curt goes for a spear and he moves and he goes straight through out of the ring. That spot was amazing. And gets back in the ring. They start grappling a little bit. More massive chops. At one point, Curt picks up some momentum, starts kicking the hell out of him. At this point, Wahoo gets cut open, starts bleeding, and Curt is just like pounding that cut. At one point, he gouges it. I don't know if you saw it. He's like actually like gouging it with his thumb.
Yeah. Just gonna bleed more.
And you think it's the end of Wahoo, but he gains some more momentum. Gets him in the corner and is just tomahawk chopping him the whole time, just right to the chest. It ends like with a little controversy. Yeah. And the commentator even says like all Hennig's matches end like kind of sketchy. Like
well, I mean, he's kind of a dick heel, like shitbag.
So the whole time the ref is giving, I made a note like, what the fuck is up with that ref? He's doing like the slowest counts ever. He's like, one. And it's like he starts to count, but he stops, he stutters, he's like, 2.
like a solid
what the hell? And so Curt pins Wahoo, and he's got his legs on the rope pinning Wahoo down, and the ref is doing the slowest count, and then it's like he doesn't know what to do. He's like giving the motion for the bell and like trying to raise Curt's hand, and he just looks like some confused old dude.
Yeah, I was saying he was an older gentleman.
Yeah. So Curt gets the belt, runs out. Tell me about the after interview. It's one of my favorite things on this whole thing.
So Wahoo's he's bleeding, he's on the side of the ring being interviewed. He's like, I don't want to have to say this on, it might not be exact quote, but I don't want to have to say this live on air, but this is some bullshit.
Like, it's uncut. Like, he's like, I don't know if I can say this. This is bullshit.
And then he's like, I want a rematch. Cage, 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 cage. So did that happen? Did they get her cage match?
I don't know. I should have done extra research. I should have seen. I guarantee you they did it. They had to have, because he said it 50,000 times.
But at first glance,
I hope that's the last 5 syllables of his haiku.
That would have been good.
That really
So at first glance, you like Cookie mentioned that he was bored with this match, and I don't know if it's
Fight Club.
Yeah. So
sorry guys.
Guys aren't supposed to talk about.
No. This was like while you were taking a piss.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So no, Cookie mentioned he
it was
a
Fight Club though.
It is Fight Club.
A little bored with this match, and no, I'm talking like right when we got here, before we started talking.
Fight Club.
Anyway, we're at the club and we're warming up.
All right. Anyway.
And at first glance, he's like, yeah, it's a little boring, but I don't know if I've taken such a deep dive into old school wrestling this week, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great.
It's almost like Cape Fear Wine and Beer. You have to, like, there's different flavors here and there, and maybe this is like a nice stout where it's a little, it's hard to get into, but once you kind of figure out like the taste. And you kind of get a taste for it. You're like, okay, I appreciate this.
It leads to other things. And that's actually where I bartend, Cape Fear Wine and Beer. Thanks for the shout out.
Hey,
cheap pop.
And thanks. We've got a lot of listeners from my regulars and customers at the bar. And thank you for listening. And thank you for dealing with me like the slightest mention of wrestling I go on some kind of rant while people are waiting for beer. So thank you. All right.
So now is my favorite segment of the show. I know this is the haiku. We've had we've had one really bad one. One mediocre one. Last week was better.
Yeah.
So let's hear your haiku this week. Did you,
all right.
Guys?
I have a good feeling about this one.
I do, because he had written these beforehand, and he had written 2.
Yeah, normally he writes them while we're doing the
right, because you can see him counting on his fingers. So let's hear both of them.
All right. Hail to the chief, baby. Pass that peace pipe, big Wahoo. Cage, 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 cage. So the second one's a little like the first, But I thought Cage might have been a cop out. But you guys liked it. I liked it. It was awesome. But it starts off the same. Hail to the Chief, baby. Hennig gets a tomahawk. Pass the peace pipe, Chief.
All right, there we go.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I went with the first. I like the Cage.
I like the Cage.
Cage. All right, so that'll do it for episode 6 of $2 Steak, a pro wrestling podcast, folks. Next week, let's see what we got on the docket. I've already done your rundown. I'm actually really excited about this one. We've got some different kind of matchups. Greenhorn Mike, you've got Eddie Guerrero against a 1 Chris Jericho.
I told him. Rock and roll.
This is from WCW. I think this is it had to have been a Cruiserweight Championship matchup. Cookie, we have a matchup between he who cannot be mentioned,
Voldemort?
Wild Pegasus. Chris Benoit against the Great Suzuki.
Oh, God.
And
Wild Pegasus.
And in honor of that music video that I found this week, that amazing fucking music video.
You're talking about?
But you've got the fabulous ones against Wyndham and Rotunda. All right, that'll do it for this week's episode. We will hear from you. You will hear from us next week.
Yeah.
Cage.
Cage.